Randall, Carl Jones, Tyler Waleed Cassis. At defense, number 22, Kyle Moraldo. Number 23, 28, Chris Walter. Number 6 on defense, Tyler Allen. In the midfield, wearing number 2, Jeff Thomas. Also in midfield, number 13, Nico Tagaloa. In midfield, 21, Andrew Benarski. At midfield, number 14, Marcus Hansen. In midfield, number 7, Russell Cicerone. And a forward, number 5, Ian Morris. We now ask that you stand and remove your hat for the playing today as the anthem. FC Buffalo would like to thank sponsors of tonight's game. Mesquite, Buffalo's only true soccer bar for the pre- and post-game home of FC Buffalo at 1420 Hurl Avenue. Western New York, immediate care. When your doctor's office is closed or unavailable, go to Western New York Immediate Care. Rich Products, the family business that cares for the city of Buffalo. Way a family can. Batavia Downs Gaming and Western Regional OTB, WesternNewYorkMedia.net, Hilbert College Center for Adult and Graduate Studies, Minuteman Press of Downtown Buffalo, Admirals Sportswear, Salem Sports Park, the Western New York Flash, and Accent Advisors of Buffalo, the proud sponsor of the 5th anniversary home uniform, to be auctioned off to a 2-ounce cause after the home finale on July 13th. The only direction can't be scared to fail. Search of perfection. Gotta keep it fresh. Welcome to Dembski Sports Complex on a hot sunny Sunday. Today we have 1-1-1 FC Buffalo against the 0-3 Erie Admirals here at the campus of Canisius College. I'm Ben Sujimoto, joined by Russ Andalina. Russ, it's been a tough stretch here for FC Buffalo, and a home win today against Erie would be a pretty good remedy.
Yeah, for sure. You start the season at Erie with that big 4-2 win and kind of a gentle slope down with a tie against Cleveland and a loss in a kind of heartbreaking fashion away to Lansing last weekend. And now, Buffalo's trying to really get back on top of things and staying competitive in the Great Lakes Conference.
A lot of frustrations from head coach Brendan Murphy after that, the 2-1 loss to the Indiana Fire, which came in extra time in the 92nd minute. A ball that was played over the top and right in front of Waleed Cassis, and the the Indiana player beat him to the ball and scored, and that was it. And it was a game that FC Buffalo probably should have won in the first half when they had tons of chances. But we're underway here. Erie wearing red, going from right to left. FC Buffalo wearing their home blues with yellow trim. They're going left to right. Long ball, Ian Mort playing as a target striker today. Sheldon Sullivan on the left side for Erie. Gets in on the tackle nicely. Kalashaw poked away by Tagaloa. Tagaloa wide. Cicerone one-on-one with Suggs on the left side. Can they take him one-on-one? Cuts back inside, plays to Hansen. Hansen leans back and skies the ball well over the net.
Some decent movement from FC Buffalo early. Tagaloa winning the tackle and creating options at the top of the Erie penalty area there.
One injury to note, FC Buffalo's captain Brian Knapp is week to week now with a calf injury. He suffered, I guess, at the end of 2 weeks ago against Cleveland. No, excuse me, early on against the Indiana Fire. And he's out of action for a while, as is Liam Callahan, who is transferring from Villanova to Syracuse. But in order to be eligible in the fall, he's taking a couple classes at Syracuse, so he won't be around probably for the rest of the year. So yeah, that's a big loss in center defense and a big loss in the center of the midfield. Yeah, two very big losses for FC Buffalo. Brian Knapp, one of FC Buffalo's appearance leaders, one of the cornerstones of this club, who offers a lot of energy on the right wing and the ability to put in some really good long throws. So we'll see how Buffalo copes today. That's a good point, Russ, especially in the set pieces, because FC Buffalo is dominant against Erie off those. Cicerone drives the ball into the box. Samuel Oki hits the ball straight up in the air. Andrew Bednarski, in his first home game of the season, brings it down and plays it square. Tyler Allen sends the ball across, and it hits the arm of an Admiral, and it's going to be a free kick for FC Buffalo, about 25 yards from goal. Yeah, a lot of good activity from Russell Cicerone early on, the UB freshman, soon-to-be sophomore, who is really the focal point of FC Buffalo's offense. Really standout player from Bloomington, Michigan, if I'm not mistaken. Forgive me if I messed that one up, but he's a really, really good player. Someone who a lot of coaches are expecting to go pro once he finishes his college career at some point or another. Who's over this free kick right now? He's a hot commodity. Detroit City FC was looking at him. The Michigan Bucks, a long historic team. Plays the ball into the box. Danny Mudd gets a piece of it and pushes it aside. A good free kick by Cicerone that forced Mudd to make a decision. The ball wasn't touched as it went through, or it might have been deflected slightly, but Mudd got his hand to it. Yeah, just wide. Yeah, Ben, as we noted, FC Buffalo is struggling a little bit for this first part of the season, but Erie is coming off of 3 straight losses. Now, they're notoriously slow starters, but pretty bad start for the season for the Erie Admirals, who have been a power in the NPSL for quite a while. Ball played in by Bednarski. Low is headed away by Sheldon Sullivan. Bobby Ross steps into it, and he hits it almost into the street adjacent. Yeah, quite a few balls floating around the Canisius campus. Finishing has been a problem for FC Buffalo, and that was one thing when I talked to Brendan Murphy this week, is what he was upset about. Just not only the quality of chances, but also creating chances and getting into positions where you're threatening. You can have possession in the zone, but not necessarily threaten. And FC Buffalo seemed a little passive in their attack. Cicerone flicks ahead for Mort. Mort shouldered off by Oki. Oki pulls it away from 2. Maneuvers by Bednarski. Plays the ball. Here's Landell. Landell tries to play the ball into Carl Jones or Bamber's feet. It gets to neither of them, and Walid Cassis picks the ball up. Yeah, FC Buffalo doing a good job of keeping that line of confrontation really high up and putting the pressure on Erie early on. Playing the ball upfield there was Chris Walter, who's back with the Blitzers. He played briefly in the Indiana game, but today is back, and he's a longtime Blitzer as well, a guy that many people are familiar with. He went and played at Nichols growing up, and here he's, I think, in his 4th year with the FC Buffalo Blitzers. Yeah, 25 appearances, 2 goals, 3 assists. Chris Walter is definitely a FC Buffalo regular and should offer some good positives to this club going forward. There's Oliver Verdalt standing over the free kick, drives the ball into the box. Tagaloa wins the initial ball. Bamber heads into the area. Slight push. Situation room not happy about that. Cleared away by Bednarski. Jeff Thomas earning his 2nd consecutive start. Number 2 for FC Buffalo. Here's Tyler Collishaw, scored on a penalty kick in the first meeting between these two teams. He's number 7 for Erie. Wesley Suggs switches fields. Mark Roche. Back to Suggs now. Suggs eyes the ball upfield. Plays an errant ball. Hits Cicerone. Cicerone will dribble at Suggs. Plays the ball square for Mort. Mort is tackled on the side from Sheldon Sullivan. Gets the ball back again. Cicerone comes back from an offside position, and it'll be a free kick for Erie coming out. 5.5 gone, Russ. Any impressions so far? It seems like FC Buffalo seems to be good in the middle third and slightly into the attacking third, but things start to break down as they get in the final third.
Yeah, I think the final ball has always been a challenge so far this season. Even going into last season, FC Buffalo has had a lot of good activity through the middle of the park, has been able to really put their impression on the game. However, that final ball is really the challenge, and Russ Cicerone has the ability to do that, but it's just a matter of him really putting his stamp on the game and avoiding those tough fouls that he's going to get. And
dangerous ball headed away by Chris Walter, and Kyle Moraldo makes sure that nothing comes of that as he skies the ball into the bleachers.
Yeah, Buffalo's got to just keep an eye on that quick counter and that quick ability to switch the field and really create some opportunities by Erie there.
Good ball into space there by Oliver Verdault, a guy who I wasn't impressed with in the first game of the season. But it seems like this Erie team, there's so much unfamiliarity among the squad, especially on a team that is typically very similar from year to year, but a ton of changeover, not only with John Melody no longer as the head coach, but as just the owner, and Mickey Blythe stepping in as his now the head coach on the sideline. So there's a lot of transition, but I don't think anybody's still expected a 0-3 start.
Yeah, that's right, Ben. Erie's have had a lot of good imports from England and Ireland, and they've been able to form a good core of the team that you saw, knock FC Buffalo out of the playoffs last year, and
went to the Final Four.
They did, yes. So now there's a lot of changeover, and they got to overcome that challenge here.
Collishaw, hailing from Hull City's academy, believe it or not.
That's right.
Managed to elude Jeff Thomas and got pulled down, and free kick upcoming here for Erie.
Hashtag no to Hull City Tigers.
I'm not entirely sure what that means, Russ.
So Hull City's owners trying to change the name to Hull City Tigers, kind of a la Cardiff City, and the big to-do with their changing the colors to red and changing of the logo from a dragon, from a bluebird. So, yeah, there's a lot of new money and a lot of money that doesn't recognize tradition. So.
Bamber swings the ball in, punched out by Cassis. Well done to leave his line and get a hand on that.
Not to go too off topic.
Verdault plays the ball back in again. Here's Bamber on top of his 18. Tries to play Collishaw through. Moraldo backs off for a second. Collishaw and Moraldo jousting for it, and it's going to be a goal kick coming out for FC Buffalo. 0-0, just over 8 minutes in here at Canisius College. Cassis, University at Buffalo's starting keeper. Has had some good matches so far and some down matches so far. I know Brendan Murphy wasn't too pleased with Cassis after the AFC Cleveland game. There was a moment at the end of the first half where he kind of had the ball stuck in his feet, and then it was deflected out of play, or he kicked it out of play, and then Cleveland scored, and that ended up being the tying goal.
Right, and Murphy's concern going into this year has been Cassis's command of his area, which he showed good in that first Erie game, Ben, as you were on hand for. But even going to the end of that Cleveland game, there was a chance right at the final whistle where Erie had a clear shot on net. Cassis probably could have came out for it, but luckily he made the save, and going forward, you're going to want to see him be a little bit more aggressive and in control of his area.
Cicerone tries to play through. Sheldon Sullivan gets a piece. Ball played forward to Landell. Landell flicks forward to Carl Jones. Carl Jones with his back to goal tries to poke the ball towards Collishaw, but Collishaw is sprinting up the sideline, and Carl Jones wanted him to stay stationary.
Yeah, Carl Jones, a really good option for Erie up top. Good with his back to goal. Good target forward. And will be a challenge for the center of that dynamic FC Buffalo center of defense to control for the rest of this game.
Cicerone and Sheldon Sullivan got tangled up there, and Wesley Sullivan won the free kick. Sheldon Sullivan won the free kick. Sheldon Sullivan from the University of Virginia, collegiate player there. Ball played forward to Jones. Jones, Bobby Ross gets a piece, but not enough. Now here's Jeff Thomas. Jeff Thomas loses the ball in the midfield. Here's Tyler Collishaw, one-on-one with Tagaloa. Quick step over, plays a support ball to Sullivan. Sullivan to Canisius College alum Jared Ott. Bobby Ross wins strong in the air. Jared Ott plays a 1-2 with Landell, has a go from about 25 yards, and that one's poorly hit and well wide.
Ben, I think we'd be remiss to not mention how big of a game this is for a lot of FC Buffalo fans, and even the team. Erie's been the villain for very many years, with a lot of good banter going back and forth between players like Danny Mudd and a lot of the players that have departed from Erie, but that sort of hatred and rivalry still exists between these two clubs.
I think so. I think it's a little bit more muted than it has been in the past. So talking to some of the newcomers for FC Buffalo just before the season started, they were aware of the rivalry, but you could tell there still wasn't quite that like the loathing there that we've seen in the past.
For sure. We actually at the at MSK earlier were discussing a couple years ago when one of FC Buffalo's players had his nose broken and was subsequently sent off for it against Erie at home. A lot of FC Buffalo fans kind of ran to the tunnel after the game and were exchanging words with Erie players, and there's a lot of history there. So we'll see if today can't extend that sort of rivalry.
Russell Cicerone over the free kick, drives a dangerous ball into the box, headed off the bar by Samuel Oki for Erie. A near own goal there off Cicerone's bending free kick. Hansen now wins the ball on the left wing. The ball is stuck in an Erie player's feet on the ground. Clear the ball upfield to Carl Jones, excuse me. Here's Cicerone now. Plays a quick ball to Mort. The give back does not have enough oomph on it though. Ben Narski plays the ball into space. Marcus Hansen has time to get there one-on-one with Roche. Serves the ball high into the box. Ball's cleared. Kalashaw heads back towards Carl Jones. Bobby Ross is right in his pocket. Excuse me, Chris Walter right in his pocket.
Yeah, Buffalo's doing a really good job winning these second balls, really maintaining the tempo.
Chris Walter's gone with a slightly more conservative haircut this year, which makes him look more similar to Bobby Ross, especially because one's wearing 18 and the other's wearing 10. Feels like we have a swarm.
We have a swarm of some kind of insect right in front of the press box, so forgive us if we go offline. Bees, they're everywhere.
Danny Mudd, a long ball upfield. Tyler Allen's first to it, and he wins it. Caught in the sun is Marcus Hansen, and he loses the ball after going up for a header. Ends up at Tagaloa's feet. The Point Loma Nazarene player gets away from pressure, gets tripped by Mark Roche, and he'll earn a free kick. Mark Roche puts his arms out in disgust. Didn't agree with that call, but looked like he had a piece of Tagaloa's legs.
Yeah, Tagaloa active early. Good job in the tackle, good job passing. He's really setting the tempo in the middle of the park for FC Buffalo.
Tagaloa is still down on the ground. Looks like he's adjusting this tape on his sock. Oh, no, he's putting his shoe back on, yeah. Russ, I have to ask you, quick impressions on the U.S.'s 2-1 win today over Turkey.
Well, if you can do that Fabian Johnson goal over and over and over again, I think we might have a chance of advancing. But pretty good, acceptable, I suppose. You know, Turkey's no slouch, even though they haven't qualified. And Michael Bradley is looking to get back in more in form.
Whoa! Cicerone weaves through the defense. Mark Roche, after the foul, picks the ball up and spikes it on Cicerone. Now there's a little hustle as Marcus Hansen stands up for his teammate, and Ian Mort, who's a noted hothead, gets into it as well. But Cicerone drove through traffic, got pulled down, and then Mark Roche
took a throw-in off
the top of his head, and FC Buffalo's players took offense to that. And there's a quick yellow card that went up on the initial tackle.
You know, talking about the kind of the rivalry tapering off, I think that'll do a good job of keeping it alive.
Yeah, I think it's only taken 30 minutes for this one to get a little chippy, a little physical, and
yeah,
I imagine that the heat might have something to do with it too, because when these teams get worked up, there's definitely some, we'll see some theatrics, I think.
For sure.
Cicerone looks no worse for wear, though, after taking a ball off the face, and he'll stand over the free kick. Erie's three-man wall, lines up right at the edge of the 18. I think Cicerone will probably have a go from this distance. Tyler Allen jogs up to give him an option on the left side, but don't expect him to use him. Cicerone with a drive. Cicerone over the bar. An ambitious strike going near post, but he could not keep it down enough as he was trying to curl for the upper left corner.
Yeah, Cicerone, a very good dead ball option for FC Buffalo. And Bobby Ross is, if I'm not mistaken, 2 goals this year so far with off the set piece. He's been able to knock in a couple from the center of defense from these Cicerone crosses. You might want to see FC Buffalo put those into the box more and not try the spectacular.
They all can't be Andrea Pirlo, can they?
No, they cannot.
Landell, in a cluster of blitzers, manages to get away from pressure and play the ball outside. The ball swung in towards Carl Jones, gets a head to it just wide of the near post. Carl Jones, a dangerous aerial threat at 6'4", and a very good ball swung in from the right side there by Mike Bamber.
Yeah, classic center forward. Good first touch, good size, and testing the FC Buffalo defense early.
The 2 center backs for FC Buffalo in the opener, Liam Callahan and Bobby Ross, did a very good job just bodying Carl Jones, keeping him away from establishing position too deep into into a dangerous spot, and they did well being physical with him. Today with Ross and Chris Walter, I don't expect it to be too much different, especially in their approach.
Yeah, that's right. Liam Callahan, obviously a big loss for FC Buffalo, but you lose Callahan, you gain that experience from Chris Walter, who has played this Erie team a few times.
Bamber picks off a Chris Walter long drive, and now Bamber on the right side as FC Buffalo's defense recovers, poked away by recovering Bobby Ross. A dubious ball there by Chris Walter, who tried a line drive switching the field, and Mike Bamber read it well and gave him, at least briefly, an odd man rush. Wesley Suggs deep in his own end. He's a teammate of Sheldon Sullivan, number 19, the left back in college at Virginia. Andrew Bednarski, after a decorated senior season at St. Lawrence University. He's wearing 21 for the Blitzers here on the right side.
Yeah, good step up there from Bednarski. Good experienced Buffalo player.
A guy whose injury towards just beyond the halfway point of last season really hurt the Blitzers in the playoffs.
For sure.
He wasn't an every game starter before he got hurt, and FC Buffalo was kind of looking for answers down the stretch, and it was good that they advanced to the postseason, but it was definitely a trying affair in the semifinal against Erie.
For sure, you're looking for that work rate in the middle and the ability to tackle and pass simply, and Bednarski and Mort, options like that will be I think a big help for Cicerone going forward.
Seems like Bednarski has a lot of freedom to roam too as a center midfielder, and he's one of those guys who's going to step in. He was playing on the wing last year with Brian Knapp's injury, though. He's been pushed a little bit closer inside.
Doctor's office is closed or unavailable. Call Western New York Immediate Care, the fastest ER alternative with locations in Amherst, Orchard Park, Williamsville, Cheektowaga, and Buffalo.
Danny Mudd's high goal kick is won by Tagaloa against Verdult. Jared Ott heads back dangerously into his own end, and Samuel Oki does the conservative thing and plays back to Danny Mudd, the pink-shirted Erie goalie. The
much maligned Erie goalie from FC Buffalo fans. Probably one of the biggest villains for many FC Buffalo fans in the Situation Room. But he's a very quality keeper. Has had a bit of a rough season, and there's been rumors that he might have not start today. But the Erie management showing their confidence in the veteran and giving him the start.
Giveaway by Chris Walter again. Landell tries to play square to Mark Roche, sneaking up the right side, but he puts too much pace on the ball. Now Cicerone one-on-one with Wesley Suggs, tries to scoop the ball over him. Can't get it. The long-legged Suggs now clears up the line, finds Landell. Bamber plays him back, slide to the ground by Bednarski. The referee gets a touch on the ball. The ball switched. Terrific bending ball by Landell. Finds Kalashaw. He's got Sheldon Sullivan on his left. Sullivan one-on-one with Moraldo. Tries to play the ball in. Moraldo gets back and knocks the ball out. It's going to be an Erie corner kick, though.
Yeah, good switching play from Erie there. Ability to overlap and win this corner.
It's a terrific ball by Landell with the outside of his foot. Bent nicely into the path of Kalashaw, and a smart run there by Sullivan to get around this outside and give a nice little 2-on-1 situation to make Moraldo decide.
Right.
It's going to be Landell, who had a shaky first half against FC Buffalo, but had a pretty good second half in their first meeting in Erie a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. Landell swings in, unmarked at the near post. Is Oliver Verdolt, and
had a free header there.
He ends up heading over the bar, but you're right. Unmarked Oliver Verdolt in a very dangerous area.
Yeah. You'll want to shore that up. Kendall McFadden, option, I believe, for FC Buffalo off the bench today. Had to go through some paperwork being a pro with the Rochester Rhinos and being eligible for this semi-pro league. Could be an option up top for FC Buffalo off the bench in the second half, or could feature in the center defense like he has in years past.
Terrific ball from Cicerone. Picks out Jeff Thomas's foot. Thomas is a little frustrated with himself for his first touch, but a very, very good driven ball by Russ Cicerone. Some rather profane chants coming from the Situation Room towards Danny Mudd.
Yes, they do not like Danny Mudd.
21 minutes in, still scoreless here at Dembski Sports Complex between FC Buffalo and the Erie Admirals. FC Buffalo 1-1-1 on the year, Erie 0-3. Collishaw keeps the ball in play. Sullivan wriggles away from pressure. Jeff Thomas is right in his back pocket. Collishaw plays back Sullivan. Sullivan sees Verdolt given away. Played forward, there's Ian Mort. Ian Mort has Bednarski running off him, has Cicerone on his right. Mort plays back to Hansen. Tyler Allen up the left side. A good track back by Bamber, however. Bamber plays Landell, and Erie now has possession.
Yeah, very good tackle.
Long ball up the side towards Bamber, but it floats out of play right to head coach Brendan Murphy.
You know, we're here in the first week of June, and you know, the rust of May should be shaken off at least by now. You're hoping to see some cohesion by either of these teams to really, you know, pick their game up and start competing for the divisional title, which you want to really shoot for, given the change in the playoff structure this year.
The rust of May. That was very eloquent, Russ.
Rust of May. Wow.
This would be a good time to have a Brian Knapp throw in, but instead it's going to be Russell Cicerone throwing in for FC Buffalo. Now hands off to his college teammate and FC Buffalo teammate Marcus Hansen, who played AAU basketball with the first overall draft pick in the NBA just 2 years ago.
I did not know that.
Anthony Bennett. A really good throw in from Hansen is caught by Danny Mudd, but I think we found Brian Knapp's replacement here. Chris Walter wins the ball out of the air. Jared Ott's first there. Carl Jones, a foot race with Walter. Walter does nicely to get a piece of it without getting the ball poked by him. A good sliding tackle by the Hartwick defender.
Yeah, good time challenges on both sides.
There's Jared Ott. He's got two blitzers around him. Ball poked out of play for an Erie throw. Jared Ott graduated from Canisius College 2 years ago. In the same class as Gavin Falconer, who also played with the Erie Admirals briefly. There's Ott, sends the ball high into the box. Cassis out of his cage, gets two hands to it. Punches it briefly away from danger, but Erie still in a threatening position here.
Yeah, quite a bit of crossover regionally with a lot of these cities, and as this conference gets more competitive, you'll see more, you know, Buffalo guys playing in Erie or Detroit, and vice versa. You know, Russell Cicerone is a good example of that. Like you mentioned earlier, Ben, he could have very easily been a Detroit player or a Michigan Star player or what have you. And you know, as the MPSL becomes more of a competitive league, you're going to see a lot of recruiting early on and through the rest of the season, as you know, these teams really try to get the best talent from the region to spend their summer with them.
Verdolt plays Sullivan. Sullivan on the left side finds Collishaw. Sullivan makes a run off him. Collishaw does well in tight spaces, but Tagaloa picks off the pass. An errant pass from Cicerone, however. Ian Mort was in a good position, and so was Tagaloa, and the ball went between the two of them and over to Danny Mudd. Yeah,
Tagaloa is doing a lot of the little simple things right today. Nice, quick, clean tackles, nice, quick, clean passes. Just not on the same page as his teammates just yet.
Again, Tagaloa comes from Point Loma Nazarene with three other FC Buffalo blitzers. Tyler Allen, who's been the starting left back all year long. Christian Wyatt, who's a reserve forward. And Val Doppenberg, who's a a substitute who usually gets about 15 or 20 minutes of action in the game, but all 4 of those guys came over from Point Loma, which is near San Diego, or maybe in San Diego, in California. And the connection is Brendan Murphy, FC Buffalo's head coach, played collegiately and is a close friend with the head coach of Point Loma Nazarene, who's Ryan Caruth. So that's where that connection happened, and FC Buffalo was able to provide some sort of lodging for those 4, and they seem to be, I guess, having a summer adventure on the opposite coast.
Yes.
Ian Mort tries to play the ball over mud, but has no luck on the volley. FC Buffalo's finishing has not been too encouraging so far today.
Yeah, again, a lot of good midfield combinations, but final ball is just not there for either side. I think we had somebody some good Samaritan on the other side of the parking lot is helping out with the collection of errant balls.
Bednarski wins the header. Ian Mort right on the shoulder of Wesley Suggs. Suggs does well to shield him off. Plays it back to Mudd. Bouncing ball though. Mudd does well to kick it close to midfield. Tyler Allen got shoved as he went up by Andre Landell, but ref did not deem it enough to be a foul.
You know, FC Buffalo, their first year here at Canisius College in the Dembski Sports Complex, but they've been pretty lucky with surroundings. Very nice. Nice day, obviously, but also a nice view of the Canisius Gold Dome, and you know, back at All High last year, the All High is a beautiful place to catch a game, obviously, with the roof and the brick facade and all that. So hopefully FC Buffalo can continue with these very nice venues.
I think Canisius could do with a little bit of adjusting the big Canisius Golden Griffins and the lightning and the kind of tacky touches there. But other than that, it's a nice complex. It's a pretty nice turf field.
No football lines.
No football lines, but a lot of confusing other lines.
That's true.
Here's Chris Walter, picks his head up looking upfield, sees a diagonal run from Jeff Thomas. A great close there by Samuel Oki, however. Bednarski does well to keep the ball in possession for FC Buffalo. Moraldo causing a little bit of trouble for himself here with Tyler Collishaw. Plays the ball, Cicerone down the line. Cicerone pokes it in the middle, and Jeff Thomas is there. Jeff Thomas picks his head up, gives it away. Tagaloa. Jared Ott pushes him down. Referee says no call.
Seems like FC Buffalo has 1 or 2 great touches, and that, again, that final ball, even, you know, this deep in midfield is just very lacking.
Oliver Verdalt plays up to Landell. Landell has space to run, scoops the ball towards Carl Jones. Here's Bamber spinning away from pressure. Bednarski recovers, plays the ball out wide. Here's Mark Roche. Mark Roche high up, plays Bamber. Bobby Ross is the first one there, and Roche's foot was up kind of high, and it looks like it caught some of Bobby Ross. He was down and grabbing his right leg. Which,
of course, is not, you know, putting some good pressure in the midfield. But you know, you want to get some combinations going in the midfield to really spring that final ball, and you know, have guys make the good runs that can, you know, result in chances.
You can tell that Erie really wants Andre Landell to become that 10 shirt, that guy who's the creative one, the guy who plays balls into space, who gets into dangerous areas, who beats guys off the dribble, and he wasn't that in the first game, and he's getting a little bit more of that today. But when you have Jared Ott and Oliver Verdalt as definite holding midfield was off you, there's a lot of pressure on Landell to be the creator.
Correct.
And we'll keep our eye on that as the day progresses, but early signs weren't too favorable in at least the opener.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing Landell does have, though, is plenty of pace, and he can strike a ball, too. But it's just sometimes it's decision-making, sometimes it's the weight on the passes. It's not an easy role to fulfill, as you can tell. Like, the U.S. doesn't have a true number 10, you know. So.
Yeah, I mean, even beyond this country, it's tough to find a true number 10 anymore. There's not a lot of Carlos Valderramas or Marco Echeverries anymore who just kind of sit in that space. And that could be just because the way the modern game is. You need to be athletic. You need to be able to do everything. Which is why Cristiano Ronaldo is such a talent, because he has the physical tools, the technical tools. You know, it's a tough ask for sure.
A pretty uneventful first half so far. We're about 30 minutes in. Still scoreless here between FC Buffalo in blue and the Erie Admirals in red. Bobby Ross wins a header from Carl Jones. Jared Ott plays back for Sheldon Sullivan. Heads back to Samuel Oki from Tiffin. Oki with an errant clear. Jeff Thomas wins it. Ian Moore tries to play through, but Wesley Suggs steps forward. Now here's Landell in the other direction. Has Kalashaw on his left, plays Kalashaw. Kalashaw cuts away from pressure. A good ball into space. Jared Ott plays first touch, can't get it through Chris Walter, however. Chris Walter, well done for the Blitzers. He wants to push the pace upfield. As the tempo passes Verdult, sees Jeff Thomas into space, curves the ball to Russ Cicerone on the side. Crows cuts in, shoots, scores! Russ Cicerone!
Move by FC Buffalo. Chris Walter coming out of the center of defense, sidestepping an Erie midfielder, switching that ball to the wide to Cicerone, and Cicerone with a great finish. Really nice counter there.
Welcome back, Chris Walter. That was
seriously.
A pretty fantastic 40-50 yard run there out of the back. FC Buffalo takes a 1-0 lead here in the 32nd minute. That was roughly around the same time that Cicerone struck in their last meeting.
Man, what a run by Walter. That was incredible.
You could tell that he picked up a head of steam. He knew that I don't think Erie was expecting him to make that kind of run upfield.
Or to make that kind of switch to Cicerone. Man, that was very impressive.
Tagaloa now trying to, on a run of his own, and mix up in the back between Oki and Suggs. 6s and 7s back there. Tagaloa heads towards Cicerone. Cicerone can't quite get a piece. Kalashaw comes up, gets a piece of it. Moraldo sticks his shoulder into him, and a free kick coming for Erie. I think that was just a situation where Moraldo's a little bit bigger and a little bit thicker and a little bit stronger than Kalashaw. And
yeah, it's a tough call for a ref to make, either 50-50 or a straight-out foul.
A good early ball by Carl Jones, sees Landell, and Landell can't put it on frame. Great first touch, though, from Carl Jones to create an opportunity for Erie.
I don't think there's any doubt that FC Buffalo has control of this game on all facets. They were able to break down that I wouldn't want to call it a bunker, but really good shape by Erie to keep defensively. And again, you have that kind of unexpected 40-yard run from Chris Walter, and the ability to go down, evade defenders, and also make that switch to Cicerone is it's something you want to see going forward of FC Buffalo.
Erie's defending that counterattack seemed kind of lazy too. No one really stepped to him particularly well. I mean, if he's got a head of steam, you take him out and you maybe just accept a yellow or something like that.
Right.
But it seemed like they had enough numbers back where that wasn't going to be an issue.
Right.
Here's Cicerone one-on-one with Mark Roach. Cuts by him, makes him fall down, drives the ball across the box, and it's hit away by Danny Mudd, but just a brilliant cutback against the grain by Russell Cicerone. Put Mark Roach right on his butt.
Buffalo's first goal is third of the season, scored by number 7, Russell Cicerone. Assist from number 18, Chris Walter.
Cicerone, the in-swinging free kick, drives it towards the back post. Bobby Ross is there, but Carl Jones gets a head to it first. A corner kick on the other side, upcoming for FC Buffalo. That's right, the black market food truck's here today?
I hope so. I am hungry.
Right over
there it is.
Them,
oh,
yeah.
Man. I hope they have the Semita sandwich.
They won't. Swung in by Bednarski to the back post. Looks like it's going to be flicked back in. Danny Mudd goes down to the ground. I'm not really sure what happened there. I don't think he was pushed. I think he just stumbled. Bednarski pushes past Jared Ott. A kind of a dirty play by Jared Ott, and that's one of those
necessary fouls, I guess you could call it.
A necessary foul, yeah. I know Ott has come under heat for some of his tackles, and that one was definitely a little dangerous on Bednarski. He poked the ball past him, and he just kicked him in the leg.
Again, you're kind of seeing, bad decisions from Mudd coming off his line. Almost cost Erie another goal there.
Bednarski standing over the free kick, drives into the box.
It's been a tug of the shirt there.
It looks like there's a foul in the box. It seemed rather ticky-tack, and FC Buffalo doesn't agree with it, but...
Very USA Slovenia.
The crowd kind of filling in here.
Yeah, another good turnout.
Supporter
section has ballooned in the past couple of years. Very good turnout.
MESQUE.com or go to 1420 Earl Avenue in Buffalo.
Sheldon Sullivan knifes through two and draws a foul.
And just a little ad there from SK. SK recently featured in the quarterly magazine Howler, which is distributed pretty widely across the country. Great cocktails, too.
Played forward, checking back is Bamber. Bamber spins from pressure, finds Jared Ott. Jared Ott, dummy by Landell. Landell, Carl Jones wanted him to run off, and Landell stopped. Now here's Cicerone. Cicerone loses the ball to Carl Jones, who's playing pretty far, pretty deep. Bamber slices away from pressure, sees Sheldon Sullivan. Excuse me. Sorry to the Sullivans. Sheldon Sullivan cuts inside, pokes to Carl Jones, overruns the ball, gets a bit of jeer from the Situation Room. Collishaw now swings into the box. A tough ball to play for Chris Walter. He controls it, keeps it in play, and clears it upfield. Well done by Chris Walter. Cicerone's first to the ball. Plays the ball square to Ian Mort. Cicerone. And there's Jeff Thomas running into space. A good idea by Ian Mort. Maybe wanted to get a little bit more air under that ball.
Yeah, good movement there.
Tagaloa runs through it. A yellow card to Andre Landell.
And the referee's sensing a little bit of chippiness in these fouls and setting expectations relatively early.
I thought that was a very soft yellow, Russ.
Yeah, I think the ref, well, maybe he knows the history between these teams and wants to nip it in the bud.
"37 minutes gone, 1-0 FC Buffalo. Wearing the blue jerseys with yellow shoulders, yellow numbers. Cicerone drives the ball into the box. Ian Mudd flicks it in the direction of Jeff Thomas. Carl Jones up top for Erie. Jared Ott gets a touch while falling over. Finds Carl Jones, and now Erie can possess a little bit. Here's Andre Landell, swings wide for Tyler Collishaw. Collishaw has space one-on-one against Kyle Moraldo. Another step over, strikes the ball towards the back post, headed away by Bobby Ross. Now here's Mark Roach, clips the ball back in, Tagaloa heads away.
Yeah, Jones having to drop pretty deep for Erie, even coming back, as you mentioned earlier, Ben, to defend corners. And he really needs some better runs off the ball to make him a more of an effective presence for Erie.
Jared Ott has time to turn. Chooses not to play Carl Jones. Carl Jones checks back now. His first touch is better this time and finds Collishaw. Jeff Thomas recovers nicely, though, to get in position. Sheldon Sullivan back to Collishaw. A quick 1-2 with Landell. Moraldo reads it nicely. Shields Collishaw out of the way, and that's going to be a goal kick for FC Buffalo. Well done by Kyle Moraldo.
Very well done. Featuring for Niagara the past few years, Kyle Moraldo. Part of the Chase Brooks squad. Ooh.
A bad giveaway by Moraldo right to Landell. Now Carl Jones has some space. He has a crack at it. Bobby Ross goes to ground and makes a terrific block.
Just saying, Kyle Moraldo before that giveaway, very good fullback with the Chase Brooks squad that went to the MAC tournament a couple years ago.
Long throw in from Roche. Bobby Ross gets his head to it again. Ian Mort with Wesley Suggs right on his back. Cicerone does a great job to turn past Verdolt. Cicerone has some space down the left wing. Verdolt recovers. Cicerone cuts inside and tries to play it against the grain, and Verdolt with a good tackle. Chris Walter plays the ball to Jeff Thomas. Keeps the ball in play. Can't do much with it, though. Jared Ott now in midfield. Plays Carl Jones' feet. A tough tackle from Chris Walter. Did not get the whole ball. Jones plays quickly. Here's Mark Roach sneaking up the right side. Roach has time to pick his head up and serve in a ball. It's low. Tyler Allen just gets a piece of it. Bobby Ross wins another with his head. and Bednarski clears away from danger. Bobby Ross, the ability to win balls in the air with that can't be understated.
Yeah, definitely not. Not with someone like Carl Jones starting up top for Erie today.
Jones tries to chest the ball through. Here's Bamber now. In the middle of 5 blitzers, Bamber has a shot with his left, and it bends just wide with a deflection.
Yeah, that had Cassis rooted to his position. Good thing it went out wide.
Mike Bamber's looked maybe the most dangerous of the Erie Admirals today, wearing number 9. A pacey right winger, a guy who likes to kind of hang out on the outside, sometimes cut inside, and it seems like Mickey Blythe is giving him some freedom on where to play off of Carl Jones. I assume that he wants to stay kind of close to Carl Jones just because Jones checking back so often.
Right.
Cicerone away from pressure, a shot from a pretty great distance by Mark Roach. Doesn't really trouble Cassis whatsoever. We'll lead Cassis, who's going to be a senior next year. He transferred in from a JUCO school, I believe.
Yeah, big presence for UB last season.
Needed to be, too.
Yes.
Marcus Hansen, one of Cassis' teammates under Stu Riddle at UB, keeps the ball in play. A good turn away from pressure by Tyler Allen, draws a foul. Very smoothly done by Tyler Allen. And Mark Roach's, Jared Ott, displeased with that call, had some choice words for the official. Score is 1-0 here in the 42nd minute. A goal by Russell Cicerone off an assist from Chris Walter after a 40 or 50 yard run from Walter up the field. They kind of caught Erie by surprise and created space for Cicerone. Cicerone drives the ball towards Thomas at the back post, and Danny Mudd is there calmly off his line to claim it. Bamber wins from Allen. Well done by Mike Bamber. Jared Ott tries to head towards Landell. Tagaloa wins it. A series of head balls here. Somebody just needs to put the ball on the ground. Landell has a go, and that's over the cage. And definitely another ambitious effort, and it seems to be the best that Erie's been able to muster.
Yeah, it seems like Erie's trying to just get something on target and hope for a fortuitous rebound.
Good effort by the FC Buffalo back line.
Around at halftime, the youth team, West Seneca U8 Green Machine, coached by Bernadette Lockwood and Steve Switek, will be on the field.
It's kind of difficult to talk over PA announcer Nick Mendola,
yes.
So we'll just let him give the occasional
co-owner,
advertisement.
PA announcer, bus driver Nick Mendola.
Yeah.
Really a renaissance man. I think that's the term.
Nico Tagaloa sees Cicerone, who recognizes where the pressure is, lets the ball go towards the touchline. Now cuts inside, finds his college teammate Marcus Hansen. Hansen plays Jeff Thomas. Jeff Thomas tries to flick towards Cicerone again, and that attack goes for naught.
Yeah, just a little bit of a misreading on the run. Probably could have played it short, but hindsight's always 20/20.
Jeff Thomas is a player from Alfred who has had a lot of success as a sub, but this is one of his first times in a starting role, and can't say it's been his strongest half, but I think we'll see maybe a change at halftime for him.
Yeah, a lot of good options off the bench. Again, Kyle McFadden, who can Kendall McFadden. Excuse me, I can sports. Who can play either up top or in the center of defense, like you mentioned earlier. Christian Lee Ham, another UB product who is good off the wing or up top. So some good options for Coach Murphy coming into this second half.
Also on the bench today is Jake Reno, who's a usual starter for FC Buffalo, but he didn't really get many training sessions in this week to get acclimated with a lot of new teammates. So I wonder if we'll see him for maybe a 10 or a 15-minute span in the second half just to get his feet wet. He's a very physical player, not that unlike Chris Walter.
That's right, yeah. A player who's had a lot of good FC Buffalo experience. Another high-energy player, good in the tackle. 15 appearances all-time for him.
Great header through by Marcus Hansen. Ian Mort keeps possession in the box. Did well to bring it down. Samuel Oki there, terrific man marking, does well to get the ball away and clear the ball upfield. And he finds Carl Jones. Jones plays Landell. Landell sees Bamber through. Bamber's got plenty of space on the right wing, but does he have any help in the box? Bamber dribbles hard towards the end line. Sees Bobby Ross. Excuse me, Chris Walter. I'm still getting him confused here. Well done by Chris Walter, though, to cut off that cross.
It might have been shouts for an indirect free kick there with Cassis collecting from the back pass from the defense. Didn't seem too intentional, but you never know, depending on the referee on the day.
It's going to be a corner kick with Cicerone and Sheldon Sullivan battling on the right side. That's one thing that Cicerone said he wanted to get better at this summer, and one of the reasons why he stayed in Buffalo instead of going back to Michigan was just the ability to work out with UB's strength and conditioning staff.
That's right, all the technical ability in the world, but just want to make sure you have that kind of muscle on you that can, you know, give you an advantage over center backs and you know, big tough defenders like Samuel Oki.
Driven in by Bednarski, a great ball into the box. Sliding is Ian Mort. Can't direct it on frame, but a very good effort there by Mort. We're in stoppage time of the first half, 1-0 FC Buffalo. Lone goal of the game scored by Russell Cicerone in the 32nd minute.
And we're confident on the pronunciation there. That is definitely Cicerone, like pepperoni.
And it's definitely Cassis as well.
Cassis,
We have cleared it with both of them.
Yes.
Danny Mudd high, Tagaloa with another win. It's a part of Tagaloa's game that I was a little uncertain about, his ability in the air, but he may not be Bobby Ross, but he's won his fair share of balls.
Yeah, again, another very quiet but effective game from Tagaloa, really bossing the midfield for FC Buffalo.
Landell flicks to Jones, nicely done by Landell, sees Bamber. Bamber finds Jones again. Jones, who's been checking a lot back to the ball, and there just hasn't been much going on off of him. There's a good switch to Collishaw. This is exactly what Tyler Collishaw wants. Swings the ball in towards Cassis. Cassis catches it off a hop, and I think that's going to be it for the half.
No whistle yet. One more rush for FC Buffalo, perhaps.
Yep. Doesn't even have the whistle in his mouth yet. This Tagaloa sees Cicerone checking back, plays Bednarski. Bednarski spins from pressure. FC Buffalo will be content to go into the half up 1-0.
Yeah, fairly good performance. You know what you want. Cicerone had his look at goal and finished nicely.
You must have Danny Mudd's number. That's his third goal on Danny Mudd.
That's true, yeah.
Just under a game and a half of action. Sheldon Sullivan wins from Jeff Thomas. Heads aside. Well done by Thomas to win that ball. Thomas plays back to Moraldo. Still in stoppage time of the first half. Ian Mort checks back. Tries to maneuver from pressure. Marcus Hansen has a go. Danny Mudd coughs up a rebound. No one's there to put it away for FC Buffalo, but shaky goalkeeping from Danny Mudd, who probably doesn't want a bouncing ball with him on the ground.
Yeah, good cut in from Moraldo from the right fullback position to kind of create the space for the shot there. And, you know, Mudd again, a little bit shaky, but luckily he was able to corral the rebound for Erie.
For Dolt. Giveaway by Bobby Ross. Now Carl Jones has it. And we've reached halftime here at Dembski Sports Complex.
FC Buffalo 1, Erie Admirals 0.
And there's Nick Mendola taking us into halftime. We will be back for the second half in probably 10 or 15 minutes. Thank you for joining us here on WNYmedia.net. I'm Ben Sujimoto, joined by Russ Andolina, and we have some Erie players talking to the referees, so we'll see how this plays out. We'll let you know in the second half. Thanks for joining us so far.
To the field for tonight's halftime game.
See if I can get a sandwich.
I might send you out to the black market food truck in a second. What's that? I might send you out to the black market.
No problem. Well played game. Yeah.
brought that to me is I want it now.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Oh no, that's his camera. Whenever you guys are ready.
Welcome back for the second half. It's 1-0 FC Buffalo over the Erie Admirals here at Dembski Sports Complex on the campus of Canisius College. Again, I'm Ben Sujimoto, joined here by Russ Andolina. Russ, one very dynamic moment in the first half that really didn't have a ton of dynamism to it.
Yeah, Chris Walter coming up out of the center defense, and it's kind of been a common thread for FC Buffalo this past season, getting some unexpected offense from the center backs. Guys like Bobby Ross, Chris Walter with that incredible run and good switch to Russ Cicerone, who finished well and gave Buffalo the lead.
No changes for FC Buffalo entering the second half, but we do have some for Erie. Number 27, Russell Tattersall, steps in as the right midfielder. And I believe that's the only change for Erie. It looks like he's replaced. I'm not sure. Also, Michael Lennox is in the game too for Erie. Looks like Oliver Verdolt is out. Here's Ian Mort on his left. It was blocked, I think, right in a very vulnerable region there by Wesley Suggs.
Walking it off.
Tattersall tries to spin for pressure. Tyler Allen wins it. Well done by Allen. Has a crack. Cicerone's in a good place now. Dribbles at a defender, plays Allen. Allen doesn't see Sheldon Sullivan coming from the back. He pokes away, denying a golden scoring opportunity.
Yeah, good patience by Cicerone there to maintain the dribble into the area and lay it off, but good tracking back by the Erie defense.
It's Mike Bamber is the other guy who's come off. Tattersall came on for him. Tattersall wearing number 27 in red. And Michael Lennox, who picked up 2 yellow cards in the span of, I think, 5 or 6 minutes in the first meeting between FC Buffalo and Erie, earning one of the quickest red cards that wasn't a straight red that I think I've ever seen. Jared Ott turns and finds Kalashaw. Kalashaw runs at Tagaloa. Jones touches the ball from pressure. Now here's Landell. Lots of space. Curls the ball into the back post. Headed straight up in the air, and Marcus Hansen has it. He's away with it with space. Hansen plays Tyler Allen. Not much high pressure from Erie at all. Allen sends the ball forward towards Jeff Thomas. Jeff Thomas, pretty layoff to Andrew Bednarski, who plays Cicerone. Cicerone tries to poke around Oki, but Sam Oki too strong on the tackle, and he wins the throw-in. The Tiffin University stalwart with a good defensive play and winning the throw-in for Erie.
Yeah, Ben, good point on the pressure by Erie. They were really giving Buffalo a lot of time to pick the pass, and for a team trailing, you think there'd be a little bit more urgency. I know it's very, very early in the second half here, but you gotta think there's going to be some pressing by Erie as the half wears on, and if they don't, find that equalizer.
It looks like Erie assistant coach and tactical director Neil Brown. I think part of the purpose for bringing number 4 Michael Lennox on is really to make life difficult for Cicerone from a physical standpoint, because Lennox is not a guy who is going to bring a lot of technical ability, but he'll work hard and he'll get right in your back, and I think he's on definite Cicerone duty right now.
Yeah, that's smart. I mean, he's the X factor, right? You saw with the early chance into the area. He's willing to take guys on and play good, smart passes, and Erie needs to neutralize that if they want to come back to this game.
Cicerone on Lennox again. Lennox slides in, pokes the ball away. Bednarski finds Hansen. A very good early ball by Bednarski. Give and go with Hansen. Hansen has a crack. Well done by Marcus Hansen. Strikes the ball wide of the left post.
Hansen dropping deep to receive that ball, and
Fans, FC Buffalo
good opportunity for
proud to
Buffalo
be
there.
a partner of the area's premier entertainment destination, Batavia Downs Gaming, open daily from 8 a.m. to 4 a.m. and with Ambassador Thurman Thomas.
Ambassador Thurman Thomas.
Ben, have you been to Thurman Thomas's restaurant yet?
No, it's not high on the list.
No, okay. I have not either. For anyone wondering who, no one was wondering that, but
I was curious.
Okay.
Jared Ott spins away from pressure, pulled down by Bednarski. Bednarski not pleased with that call.
What do you think they serve at Thurman Thomas's restaurant?
Bison.
Bison, yes.
I can see it as being a wild game restaurant. Freshly caught turkey.
Yes.
Erie on the left wing. Landell drives the ball. No problem for Cassis. Catches with 2 hands and throws out to Hansen. Hansen chooses to possess. Gets Tyler Allen. Finds Cicerone. Cicerone sees the gap. Sees Mort. Mort wriggles back away from pressure. Nice little back heel to Tyler Allen. Good ball forward from Allen. One-on-one Cicerone on, or Mort on Roach. Mort wins it from him. Roach pushing as hard as he can to try to get Mort off the ball. Tagaloa takes it from him, and a tackle by Lennox. And it's going to be an Erie throw-in. A good defensive play by Lennox. I don't know if he deserved that throw-in or not, but they're getting it just past the 50-minute mark here.
Kind of surprised how deep Hansen's really playing. He's almost coming off as a left winger. You know, from our time watching the UB team, he's generally been maybe not a pure center forward, but definitely a guy you have up top doing that work. And he's definitely sticking to the left sideline here and looking to combine with guys like Tagaloa.
Talking to Brendan Murphy and assistant coach Bob Roach about Hansen, is one of the big things he brings to the table is his versatility. He can play in the back, he can play in outside midfield, he can play in the middle of the midfield. There's really nowhere that he can't play.
Right.
He's also a valuable defender. He's a guy who's just knows a variety of roles, and that's, if you're a head coach, that's the kind of guy you want on your team, you know, because that gives you all sorts of options on how you can kind of work around your other personnel.
Right.
Lennox, not particularly smooth, but does well to get away from pressure. Kalashaw, a good roll move to his right. Ott plays Lennox again. A little bit better possession now from Erie. Mark Roach finds Russell Tattersall one-on-one. Tries to poke it past Allen. Appeals for a handball from FC Buffalo, but they win it anyhow. We don't talk about him a lot, but Tyler Allen's brought a lot to this FC Buffalo team. A steady left back, can deliver balls out of the back. He's not a bad tackler. Is faster than you'd think, and I think that's a trait that has really served him well, because there's no shortage of fast and strong strikers in this league, and sometimes if he's left on an island, he needs to have those physical traits.
For sure, yeah. You know, the fullback has become an increasingly more important part of the modern game, and you know, the ability to get width from that position is critical. And you know, guys like Allen and Moraldo really give you a lot of options when it comes to pushing the game high and combining with your wingers.
The one part of Erie's attack that really gave FC Buffalo trouble last year was their 2 center midfielders, Sean Riley and Ryan Johnstone. FC Buffalo, it seemed like they were playing on their heels playing against those two, and this year both of them are no longer with the squad, so it seems like guys like Cicerone and Bednarski are the ones who are dictating plays. So I think that's a pretty big difference here as well.
Yeah, Buffalo's definitely taking the initiative.
Landell with a good flick to Kalashaw. Kalashaw turns away from pressure nicely. He has some space on the right wing. Bednarski does well to hustle after. A good step by Chris Walter, though. Marcus Hansen past Roche on Wesley Suggs. Suggs gets stuck in very nicely on a tackle, and it's a play on, and a good decision at that. Jared Ott sees Carl Jones. Carl Jones is tackled by Chris Walter. Comes up gimpy. Looks like it might be his hamstring or his ankle, one of the two, but he's walking off a bit of a knock right now.
He's favoring that left leg there. He's looks to be not looking for any kind of substitution, but we'll monitor him as the match goes on.
It's very un-Walter-like to look for substitutions, though.
Yes,
so.
that's true.
Good ball from Jeff Thomas. Finds Ian Mort. Ian Mort seemingly playing in whatever role he wants to today. There's Bednarski. Sees Tagaloa. Some good possession from FC Buffalo on the right side. Back heel from Tagaloa. Back to Bednarski. You can tell Chris Walter's ailing, because otherwise he'd be in that space right there making a run.
See this touch here.
Tyler Allen plays Bednarski, who's dropped pretty far back. Sees Bobby Ross. the Brockport star, plays Moraldo. Checking back is Ian Mort. Ian Mort's able to turn. Simple ball to Cicerone, does a good job to feint away from pressure. But Suggs gets in on the tackle. Suggs plays Jones forward, and Jones has space. Chris Walter with a terrific tackle to win that ball from Carl Jones, taking Carl Jones' shoe off in the process. Cicerone, a good run diagonally by Mort, creates space for Cicerone, plays the ball square. Ian Mort is offsides as he puts the ball in the net.
Just about a step offsides from Mort there.
Outstanding run though from Mort to draw the defenders away from Cicerone, allow him to run into space and have that little area. Maybe Cicerone should have shot there because he was kind of playing with fire,
right,
especially as Erie's defenders stepped up. I think you would have liked Cicerone to shoot that ball.
Yeah, it's a tough call for sure. I mean, you saw him earlier on that dead ball situation kind of go for the spectacular and not make it, and then in that area where he probably could have shot for his second goal, laid it off. So it's a good problem to have for a guy who can make those kinds of decisions, and they're not always going to work out, but it's good to have that type of activity from Cicerone.
Landell, a good swerving ball in the box, and Carl Jones beats Cassis to the ball, and it's 1-1. Erie ties the score in the 56th minute. Carl Jones, the 6'4" forward, gets his head on it, beats Cassis to the near post. A fine ball in by Andre Landell, and Erie is drawn even.
Yeah, lapse in concentration from FC Buffalo there. Carl Jones always a threat up top, and he won the aerial duel, and we're all knotted at one here.
It's the kind of danger that a guy like Carl Jones can provide. Big target, get the ball in the air around the area, and that's where the chances come. I mean, soccer can be a very simple game sometime, and
yeah,
that's what it is. The taller guy won the header and put it in the net.
Yep.
See how FC Buffalo can recover here, because they were very content to possess and play around. It seemed like they were in the driver's seat, and then boom, one counterattack up the left wing,
and Erie is very content, which is odd, but I understand the reasoning, to kind of sit back and let Buffalo knock it around and get those turnovers and hit on the counter, which they did successfully right there.
Now, if you use the Indiana game, the 2-1 loss of FC Buffalo as an example, it looks a lot similar to this one. FC Buffalo scored first, had a lot of chances, and maybe the chances haven't been quite the same in this game as they were in Indiana, but Indiana scored in the 71st minute and then came back and won in stoppage time. So the question now is, how is FC Buffalo going to respond? How's the momentum going to be for the next 20 minutes or so?
Right.
And honestly, I don't know. It's too hard to tell this early in an NPSL season with this many new players on how a team as a collective unit is going to be able to handle quote-unquote adversity. And I honestly don't know how the Blitzers will fare.
I mean, this is the game where you want to see that definitive response either way, though. I mean, you started with a great win away at Erie, a disappointing tie home to Cleveland, and then the heartbreaking loss last week to Indiana. And this is the game. This is the pivotal game. This is a division game where you need to get points. You need to get 3 points at home to really put yourself in the driver's seat for the playoffs. So this is. It sounds hyperbolic to say, but this is do or die time for Buffalo.
I don't think that's hyperbolic. Well, I mean, it's slightly hyperbolic,
sure,
of course, but you can't concede that this many points early in the season. I mean,
yeah,
you gave up 2 against Erie, against Cleveland. You probably gave up 3 against Indiana in a game that would have been a gigantic road win. So that's 5 points that you could have right now, and you can say come early July that they're not wishing that they maybe got a couple more points from those games. And this is a situation like that today, where had FC Buffalo scored a second goal or really put the pressure on harder a little bit earlier, they'd be in a much more comfortable place and not at risk of losing those points.
And you've got Detroit coming here. You need to get your points where you can get them. Detroit's going to be a tough out, no matter home or away. They haven't lost in 2 years.
In the regular season.
True, right. You got to really put a stamp on this season right now if you want to be a serious team.
Outstanding backheel by Landell. Sees Sheldon Sullivan to Tagaloa with a good tackle, and then he's brought down from behind. Nico Tagaloa is unhappy and fakes throwing the ball at Sheldon Sullivan. Tagaloa is showing some emotion. He just pushes Collishaw. Tagaloa, a pretty mild-mannered kid, is worked up right now. He pushes Lennox as well. See if Tagaloa can keep his head. He's learning quickly about this FC Buffalo Erie rivalry. Chris Walter, who seems to have shaken off his injury. Sees Bobby
He's still
Ross.
favoring that right leg, though.
Cicerone abuses Jared Ott on the turn, loses him again, kind of runs out of ideas briefly, and then plays Bednarski.
He needs options, too.
Good ball in from Tyler Allen at the back post. Jeff Thomas can't quite get there in time. Jeff Thomas well positioned, but his run was just a little late and he couldn't get his head on it.
Yeah,
but
that was an excellent ball from the left from Tyler Allen.
No one will give Danny Mudd a ball.
Gamesmanship.
Had to mention that sub, Kyle Meraldo, where the goal from the cross was swung in by Erie. FC Buffalo's right back has been substituted out. Now Daniel Hunt comes in. He's been a substitute who's featured in at least 3 of the games so far this year. Another St. Lawrence guy, big, physical, has some technical ability, scored a goal against Erie the last time he played. Tagaloa with a terrific win in midfield. Ian Moore tries to clip a ball through, doesn't have any luck. And Marcus Hansen crushes Russell Tattersall. He seemed to make a little bit more out of it than there actually was.
Yeah, Hansen's not too concerned with the health of the Erie players stepping over him.
Here's Kalashaw dropping back deep. Kalashaw has never seen a dribbling run he doesn't like. Plays Mark Roche wide. Roche back to Kalashaw. Kalashaw gets his obligatory step over in. Bednarski picks it off. There's Ian Mort. Has room to run. Sees Cicerone in space. Cicerone away from pressure. Decides to try to dribble by Sheldon Sullivan. The smarter play probably would have been able to play Jeff Thomas on the wing.
Off, right?
Here's Roche now. Picks out Andre Landell. A good switch of play. Landell back to Sullivan. Sullivan, Landell. Good step up by Daniel Hunt, number 26 for FC Buffalo, the substitute. 61.5 minutes gone. We are tied at 1. It's Carl Jones who evened the match for Erie on a header after Russell Cicerone had put FC Buffalo in front in the 32nd minute. We're gonna have an exciting last half hour, Russ. Two teams that, especially Erie, that really needs to get the goose egg off the standings.
City FC right
yeah, as
here
much
at
as
the
Buffalo
FC
needs a
Sports
win,
Complex.
Erie needs at least a
2
point. Going at 4 games with 1 point, just not going to do it for a club that's really been the class of this region of the country.
Got a little cloud cover now. It's gotten decently cooler, I think, on the field.
Yeah, that turf, it definitely heats up when the sun's out.
Deep throw for Erie. Jared Ott on the turf in which he played 4 years at Canisius College. He flings the ball into the box. It's over Hunt's head, and a shot hits the post by Carl Jones. Swung in again. Chris Walter can't win the header, but he does enough to get a body on it. Kalashaw, Walter wins it. Good effort there by Kalashaw in the box, and Carl Jones, Mr. Johnny on the spot there, cranks the ball off the post.
Yeah, it looks like it clipped the outside of the post, but still the post, and great opportunity for Erie.
Got a substitute coming in for FC Buffalo. That's Kendall McFadden, making his 2014 FC Buffalo debut, replacing Ian Mort. Looks like Kendall will be the lone striker here.
FC Buffalo substitution coming in for number 5, Ian Mort, number 20, Kendall McFadden.
Kendall McFadden, last seen as a member of the Rochester Rhinos in USL Pro, a guy who started off his Rochester career extremely well, scoring 2 goals, I believe, in his second or third game. Headed towards the back post, Cassis can't get there, runs into a player. Dangerous throw again by Jared Ott. Erie's really starting to mount some attacks here, Russ.
Yeah, Buffalo reeling a little bit, and they want to involve McFadden early on here, just even a couple touches. He's a good athletic player, good touch, like you were saying. He was, kind of a star at Rochester very early on, featuring in an Open Cup side that played the New England Revolution of MLS back here in Buffalo for the summer.
Deep throw headed down by Marcus Hansen. Now Jeff Thomas clears. Mark Roche is back for it. Heads towards his own sideline. Plays the ball high up into the commentating
Nearly
area.
took our head off.
And the ball's thrown in quickly. Cicerone one-on-one with Sheldon Sullivan. Plays McFadden, and a sliding tackle by Wesley Suggs denies the chance.
What a great shot for our viewers at home. That was going right for the camera.
Also a terrifying shot, probably.
Yes.
That Mark Roach.
That was intentional. I'm offended.
Deep throw in, Marcus Hansen. Oki wins from McFadden. Bednarski heads back in. Roach gets that one. Collishaw brings it down away from Hunt. Good bit of skill there from Collishaw. Collishaw plays Landell square, sees Carl Jones. Carl Jones, Daniel Hunt recovering into his position. Jones plays around Bobby Ross. Bobby Ross does well to duck his shoulder, and Jared Ott keeps possession. Carl Jones plays the ball to Bednarski, who doesn't get all of it, but gets enough and sees Cicerone, and a great first touch by Russell Cicerone. Just so dangerous running at defenders. The best that they can often do is just kind of get a touch to get the ball out of play.
Yeah, you want to see Cicerone maybe running at guys a little bit further up the field, but again, the point stands.
Jeff Thomas drags down Samuel Oki. It's going to be a free kick. Ross, you have a lot of children calling up to you.
Is it me? Oh, what do these children want? The ball?
Yeah, they want the ball.
Oh, okay.
We've suddenly been a very popular commodity up here above the press box.
I thought they were complimenting our broadcast,
Yeah.
which would be understandable.
Yeah. We've treated them to quite a few new vocab words, I think. Bobby Ross at midfield, a driven ball towards McFadden, and it's a great one. His first touch, tries to bring it down to the outside of his foot. Maybe not a great choice, as Wesley Suggs wins it. The Virginia Cavalier. Here's Roach. Wanted to pick out Carl Jones. Chris Walter with a header. Tyler Allen away from pressure. Well done to keep possession by Tyler Allen. Battle between Jared Ott and Marcus Hansen. Oh, and a dirty tackle again by Jared Ott, and looks like he's going to go into the book. That's a yellow for Jared Ott, and that was a clip from behind that, again, bordered on dirty a little bit.
Ott saying you got all the ball, but even if you do, you can't go from behind like that and mistime it.
It's definitely hard to get the ball when you have to go through somebody's legs, too. 68th minute, Chris Walter over the free kick. Had an assist earlier in the game on Russell Cicerone's goal. He drives this one in the direction of McFadden. Won again by Sheldon Sullivan. Goes back to Tagaloa, going back towards his own goal. Spins away from Collishaw, gives it up to Landell. Landell plays Carl Jones, who has time to run forward. There's a herd of blitzers behind him. Jones has a crack. A good strike by Carl Jones forces Cassis to punch the ball wide. Carl Jones, a one-man wrecking crew up there for Erie.
Yeah, Jones finding space right in front of the FC Buffalo defense and getting a very good opportunity there.
Good tackle from Jeff Thomas there. His persistence wins a throw-in for FC Buffalo.
Ben, it seems like whoever pushes the most forward and doesn't effectively maintain possession is the one that's going to get punched right now. Erie's content to sit back. They're looking at a road point, which again is not ideal, but given their season so far, it seems they're a little less urgent than FC Buffalo, who might have a shot at the division. And with Erie having 3 straight losses, they might be okay with coming out of here with a point or more.
Good turn by Bednarski. Tries to play McFadden in. A good thought by Bednarski.
Just step off.
Yep, can't fault really either of them on that play. I mean, I guess you can, but I guess I have to give a little commercial too. 2 o'clock next Sunday here at Dembski Sports Complex. FC Buffalo is hosting one of the premier teams in the region, Detroit City FC. And Russ mentioned this earlier, but they drew over 3,000 fans, which is almost unheard of.
Incredible, yeah.
Just a couple weeks ago in Detroit City, and they don't travel as well, obviously. Jones with a crack, slight deflection, but Cassis stays home.
You know, relatively speaking, I wouldn't be shocked to send a few dozen fans here. You know, and given that this is the 4th division of American soccer, it's pretty phenomenal.
It's also a city though that has some pretty serious MLS aspirations.
That's true. Yeah, Detroit's an interesting case because there's the Detroit City group, and there's a new group that's looking for USL Pro, which is again connected to MLS. But I'm not sure if Detroit fans are all on board with a non-Detroit City club coming in and trying to claim the city's soccer support.
Jeff,
I'm sorry. I was going to say it'll be interesting to see how it turns out.
Jeff Thomas came up hobbled on that as he went up for a header with Wesley Suggs and came down on his ankle, and he doesn't look too confident in it right now. With Brendan Murphy using 2 subs thus far, I would not be surprised if he used a few more in the next 10 minutes. Cicerone plays McFadden through. Samuel Oki with a good shoulder into the ball and another good shoulder, then plays the ball forward. Samuel Oki, terrific man-on-man defender, and showed it right there.
Yeah, good composure to play that out of the back.
Jared Ott flings the ball forward towards Carl Jones. Bobby Ross plays the ball back comfortably to Waleed Cassis. Cassis sees Chris Walter. Good check back to the ball by Hansen. Hansen sees Walter, finds Tagaloa. Tagaloa in the middle. Cicerone to his right. Plays McFadden checking back. Cicerone plays the ball into a gap for Jeff Thomas. No one talks to Sheldon Sullivan, however, and he plays the ball out for a throw-in when there is no pressure on him.
Yeah.
Communication's got to be better from Danny Mudd back then.
Yeah, not a great ball by Cicerone, but the error from Erie washes it out, and we've got a long Buffalo throw here.
Try saying that fast.
Yes.
Here's Hunt's long throw-in, headed away easily by Sullivan towards Kalashaw. Kalashaw flicks the ball forward for Carl Jones. Carl Jones with Bobby Ross on his back sees Landell. Landell flips towards Jared Ott, and the flag is up. Jared Ott off by a step, looks on in disbelief. Chris Walter, Tyler Allen, Andrew Bednarski, St. Lawrence University alum. Doesn't see Lennox there. Lennox, who is hiding right behind the referee. Roche plays back for Mudd. Now in the direction of Tattersall. Tyler Allen wins that header well. Oh, and a shove after the play by Michael Lennox on Andrew Bednarski. A very eerie play there by Mick Lennox.
A very eerie play. I like that it's an adjective now.
This is a totally unnecessary shove in the back. That's what Lennox brings, though. He's a physical presence, and
right.
They were calling the game in Erie a little tighter than I thought, and that's to a large degree why I picked up 2 yellow cards in the span of, 5 minutes. But today he's a little bit more time to roam. Good tackle by Hunt. Good ball into the gap by Kendall McFadden, and the center ref's a good distance away from making that call, and no help from the linesman, so it's going to be an Erie throw-in, and both McFadden and Hansen kind of look on in frustration as the referee's positioning on that play was a little suspect.
Yeah, that tackle probably could have gone either way, just given the way that they've been calling the game so far.
'73rd minute now, actually 74th. Game is tied at 1. Goals coming from Erie's Carl Jones in the second half and Buffalo's Russell Cicerone in the first half. Cicerone's 3rd of the year. All 3 against Erie, too. Daniel Hunt plays back to Tagaloa, who sees Carl Jones coming, and he pokes the ball away from pressure. Chris Walter sees Hansen. Hansen tries to flick. Jeff Thomas, an errant touch, but Hunt is able to keep it in play, but he gives it away. Here's Jared Ott now with space to run forward. Ott plays Landell in the wing, back to Ott. Ott, it's time to pick his head up. Curls away from pressure, plays back to Mick Lennox. Mick Lennox finds Roach moving forward on the right side. Carl Jones wins from Chris Walter. Jones's long strides going forward, now one-on-one with Tyler Allen. Clips the ball towards Allen, is blocked away nicely. And Marcus Hansen does well to spin away from pressure and possess. Here's Tagaloa. Tagaloa to his college teammate, Tyler Allen. Tyler Allen sees Bednarski. Bednarski has space to turn upfield. Jared Ott in on his shoulder. A ball to McFadden on the touchline, and he's offsides, and he was offsides by a couple feet.
Yeah, for sure.
McFadden hasn't really been able to play much soccer, having to wait for his papers to make him not a pro anymore. So you can tell there's going to be a little bit of, I guess, rust. The rust of May.
Yeah, the rust of May. But even beyond that, I think you're not seeing a lot of Erie sitting back, and they're basically inviting Buffalo to get that possession in midfield and start combining. But there has been very little to any combination through the central channel that could potentially spring McFadden. So a little difficult right now for Kendall up top alone. Not a lot of long balls, not a lot of short combining plays either.
Landell turns away from pressure, draws a double team, plays back to Sheldon Sullivan for Erie. Number 19 drives the ball into the box. It's won by Tattersall, but he can't keep the ball in play, and it's out for a goal kick for FC Buffalo. Another substitution coming on. It's Jake Reno about to make his season debut.
Substitution for FC Buffalo. Number 2, Jeff Thomas, out for number 19, Jake Reno.
Jake Reno will step in as a center back, pushing Chris Walter forward. Looks like Walter will play probably a center mid role. Yeah, it appears like Bednarski's drifting out to the right, Hansen on the left. The two center mids are Reno and Tagaloa, and Chris Walter, excuse me. Reno plays the ball forward. Reno getting involved immediately. Mick Lennox heads and finds Collishaw. Collishaw going diagonally across the middle. Does well to steer away from pressure. Plays back to Sullivan. Sullivan plays to Jared Ott, headed away by Chris Walter. There's a lot of tenacity in the middle now for FC Buffalo. Chris Walter and Jake Reno. Even though Jake Reno's playing center back, he's not playing center mid. Mick Lennox with a great ball into space. Sheldon Sullivan running at the defense, turns Tagaloa, has a crack at goal, does not get much on it because he says no problem.
Yeah, you're looking for that link between Cicerone and the rest of the central midfielders and even the center of defense. A lot of energy, a lot of good tackling ability, but not a lot of cohesion right now.
Give Erie credit, this is a team that adjusts pretty well at halftime usually, and it seems like what they've done, they've managed to
for sure
make life a little bit more difficult on Cicerone, who was finding alleys before, and he doesn't seem to quite find them as frequently now. Not to say that that won't come in the next 13 minutes, but they've done well to adjust for sure. Shoving between Bobby Ross and an Erie player. I'm not sure if that was Landell? I think it was Landell.
Yeah. Well, if Erie's game plan was to frustrate FC Buffalo, they've definitely done that. They've disrupted a lot of what was working for FC Buffalo early on. Tagaloa has really, been taken out of the game. Haven't really seen a lot from him. There hasn't been a lot on the wings either. Erie's really carried a lot of the run of play. It's not been cohesive, but it's been effective, and they've been really taking the game to FC Buffalo in the past 10 minutes.
Ball driven in by Jared Ott. Cassis goes up nicely and grabs it over the head of Wesley Suggs, who's cast quite an imposing figure himself. McFadden with a good win in front of Samuel Oki, but a little bit too much oomph on that header. Goes all the way to Danny Mudd. Tyler Collishaw plays Mick Lennox. Mick Lennox plays the ball to Russell Tattersall here. Russell Tattersall plays back from Mark Roach. He plays the ball over the top of Tyler Allen. Good first touch by Tyler Allen. He goes into the tackle well and wins it from Tattersall. Well done from Tyler Allen.
It was a very good game.
Jake Reno wins that tackle. It's good to see Jake Reno back because those tackles are always fun to watch. Jake Reno will always go into a ball 100%. Cicerone plays the ball square to Bednarski. Bednarski has a go at goal and clips it over the frame. Good build up there from FC Buffalo, but again, the final touch.
Yep, Cicerone making the right decision, playing him out wide, and final ball, final ball, final ball. It's tough. It's tough hitting the right ball on the run like that, but you know, in the heat of the game, it's you know, I can't say that I would make the same decision, or I would make a different decision rather. But you wonder if you can maybe hold up and maybe get more Buffalo players forward and try to get a better opportunity that way instead of a one-time hit into the area.
Reno clears and the ball ends up at Bednarski's feet after a well-placed header by Chris Walter. Marcus Hansen spins from pressure, loses it by Tattersall. There's Carl Jones with Marcus Hansen on him. Marcus Hansen pulls him down and the referee is going to his pocket for a booking, and that looks like it's going to be a yellow card on Marcus Hansen for that foul on Carl Jones. A dangerous free kick upcoming here for Erie in the 81st minute.
Yeah, probably necessary one from Hansen. You know, Jones splitting the center of defense and looking very dangerous running at the goal. You know, again, a kind of a common thread going back to last week's away game with the center of defense kind of being bypassed by the opposing attack and creating either a goal or a very dangerous opportunity.
5-man wall for FC Buffalo. Tyler Collishaw, and it looks like just Collishaw will stand over it. Mark Roach was there for a second and now walks away. Cassis sets up his wall, now gets in position. Here's Collishaw's free kick towards the far post. Diving save by way of Walid Cassis. The UB keeper sprawls to his right and pushes the ball aside. A good denial of that free kick by Collishaw.
Yeah, Collishaw put it on frame well, and Cassis with a better save.
It's a tough choice as a free kick taker because that was where Cassis was setting up, and Cassis could look at that ball the whole way.
Right.
But it's much more difficult to bend the ball near post and try to fit it in a crease.
Definitely.
No one said taking free kicks was easy.
No.
Landell, in swinging ball towards Carl Jones. Cassis is up after Wesley Suggs wins that header. FC Buffalo trying to counterattack. There's Samuel Oki and Kendall McFadden jostling for the ball. Oki shields Kendall off. And McFadden plays it off, and it's going to be an FC Buffalo throw-in. Well done by Kendall McFadden, the second half substitute.
Yeah, good work there. Try and break out for FC Buffalo. McFadden chases down Cassis' long kick and wins that throw-in.
A long Marcus Hansen throw-in here for FC Buffalo in the 83rd minute. We're tied at 1. Gets a lot on that one. Mick Lennox gets his head to it. Andre Landell for Erie plays the ball back over Hunt's head. Giveaway by Bobby Ross, but Jake Reno's there to head the ball deep back into the Erie zone. FC Buffalo can't react to it in time. Danny Mudd punts the ball high towards Landell. Tagaloa heads the ball out of play. A much better first half for Tagaloa than second half, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely. He's, the play was running through him. He was, you know, making those tackles and those passes that really sprung a lot of good Buffalo opportunities, but for whatever reason, the ball's just not finding his feet or even finding the vicinity of his location right now.
Play has slowed down a little bit, fairly noticeably over the last 5 minutes, I think. The Situation Room doing its best with the drums and a chance to bring them back into it. It's a high ball, Cassis catches it. Ball played high towards McFadden. McFadden with Suggs' hands on his back. Can't do much with that. Jared Ott spins away from pressure, finds Lennox, who finds Kalashaw in the middle. Kalashaw has space to run. Ball square again to Landau. This looks eerily similar to how the goal was scored. This time Landau cuts inside on his right foot, blocked by Bobby Ross. Good positioning from the Brockport back. FC Buffalo's number 10 with a good block there. Jaredot's throw in for Erie. Headed up by Tagaloa. Lennox gets a piece. Ball bobbles around dangerously. Jake Reno clears it. There's Kendall McFadden. He can't get a touch to it. The ball's played back to Danny Mudd. Mudd plays the ball square for Oki. Oki sees Mark Roche. Chris Walter closes in on him. Mick Lennox is dispossessed by Chris Walter, and it's a soft call from the official on Chris Walter. Chris Walter has words and is lucky to avoid a yellow. He's gotten a warning.
Yeah, in my opinion, very clean tackle, but referee's discretion.
We're into the 86th minute now. We'll probably have some stoppage time, but I'd say maybe 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah, Buffalo has not looked convincing in terms of pressing for a winner. McFadden's been on an island up top alone, chasing down long balls, and not what you want to see out of a team pressing for a full 3 points at home.
Good win by Jake Reno. Out of the air, Lennox plays the ball back into the box, headed by Bobby Ross right to Kalashaw. Kalashaw has a crack, goes over the bar. Dangerous play for Bobby Ross and nod that ball down right at the half circle.
Yeah, a little too comfortable there.
Talking to Coach Murphy this week, I asked him if running 2 strikers was ever in the conversation, and he said he wanted this group of blitzers to kind of master the system that he's been teaching all along before he tries too many different changes. But I think at this point, and just maybe not having enough bodies in the box, I think maybe that change will come sooner rather than later.
Yeah, of course. It's you can't be beholden to a system if it's not working. And right now, McFadden up top, Ian Mort up top, Cicerone kind of in the middle by himself. If it's not, reaping the rewards you want, you need to move to something else. There's no shame in that. So we'll see, pending result, what happens next week with this FC Buffalo team.
Here's Kalashaw almost knifing through a bunch of blitzers, but Jake Reno ends up winning that tackle. Ball played wide. Here's Tyler Allen. He has no one helping him, however, but he's racing up the left wing, shielded off by Russell Tattersall. Plays a scary ball back to Danny Mudd, but he gets there before Bednarski does and plays the ball high of field. 88th minute now, still tied at 1. Jake Reno is not going to lose that tackle with Russell Tattersall.
Fell that one.
Tagaloa wins a header. Well done. Hansen can't connect with Walter, but Walter slides into the tackle. A bunch of ping-pongy plays here. Tackle by Tattersall, and that's going to be a free kick upcoming for FC Buffalo. Marcus Hansen went down not for the first time today, and he has some words with Tattersall. Yeah. And then Jared Ott steps in to talk to him.
Buffalo really just struggling for some combination in the middle. You can see it there. They're just a half an inch off from really combining well and moving the game forward, and they're just not finding it. It's due to some good Erie pressure, just maybe some misweighted passes, but they're going to try and get some rhythm here by pumping this into the Erie area.
That Chris Walter knock that we were talking about before still seems to be bothering him. I'm not sure if it's his hamstring or if it's his hip or what, but he's been favoring that for a while now.
Yeah.
Reno's left foot towards Danny Mudd. A little bit too long, and no one really challenges for it for FC Buffalo. Mudd's punt in the direction of Kalashaw. Too far, drawing some anti-Mudd jeers from the fans. Too direct of a ball from Daniel Hunt. It's found by Mick Lennox. Lennox sees Carl Jones. Carl Jones back to Lennox. Lennox, square ball read nicely by Tyler Allen. He's able to poke it, but he can't keep it in play. Good anticipation, though, by the Point Loma Nazarene defender.
I think you can kind of get a sense of, I wouldn't call it desperation, but a little bit more urgency from FC Buffalo, trying to make these passes connect, and Erie's a little more calm and actually making these combinations happen.
Roche plays the ball in the box. A great clearance there by Daniel Hunt, who was one-on-one with Carl Jones.
Like these touches into the middle. I know they're all trying to make something happen, but it's just not working.
Jared Ott and Marcus Hansen were still having some words down on the right side after that play. It's maybe the UB Canisius rivalry talking a little bit there. Good win by Tattersall. Carl Jones steps in front of the second ball, finds Landell. Landell one-on-one with Reno. Landell goes past him, puts the ball inside the far post, and looks like Erie's stolen 3 points. 90th minute, Andre Landell pushes the ball past Jake Reno, strikes and finds the lower left corner. 2-1 Erie Admirals. Andre Landell.
That's a dagger.
Landell took advantage of that celebration right in front of the FC Buffalo fans too.
Yeah.
It's another very Erie moment right there, and very indicative of the rivalry that we've kind of come to love and hate.
1 minute of stoppage time.
Not good news for Buffalo. Only 1 minute left to make the square. And that's not going to help.
It's almost a mirror image of that Indiana game, where FC Buffalo lost 2-1, conceding 2 second-half goals, one very late, this one in the 90th minute to Andre Landell. It was a great strike from Landell. Landell did everything right on that play.
Yep.
It's hard to fault anyone for FC Buffalo on that.
They just have not had the run of play. They have not been able to hold possession or even remotely threaten in the past 15-20 minutes. It's you let a team like Erie kind of hang around your area like that, that's what's going to happen.
Very peculiar moment. Danny Mudd, 35 yards out of his net, picks the ball up, so it's going to be an FC Buffalo direct kick, I believe. Cicerone will step over, and this might be the chance that FC Buffalo needs to...
You might even want to play this short just to build it up.
All the numbers in the box. The only one back is Chris Walter. You got Jake Reno in there, Daniel Hunt in there, McFadden, Bobby Ross, some guys who can really jump. Let's see if FC Buffalo can direct this on goal. Cicerone stands over it. We're in stoppage time here, 2-1 Erie. Cicerone's free kick driven and hits the wall. Service needed to be better from Cicerone there.
A lot better.
Still another chance with Marcus Hansen's long throw in though, this time from the right side.
This has got to be the last opportunity for Buffalo.
Some jostling in the box between McFadden and Mudd, and the center officials going in to kind of clear things up a little bit.
You know, at this level, you see that balls like that played in the area are so low percentage. You got to think you'd want to have a little bit of a shorter play.
Here's Hansen's throwing, one out of the air by Tattersall. Landell hits the ball straight up in the air in his own box. The ball's cleared out by Tyler Collishaw because he's sprinting off his line. Can't be too much time on the clock. The referee checks his watch, and that is the game. Erie wins 2-1. The stoppage time goal, 90th minute goal from Andre Landell.
Admirals 2, FC Buffalo 1.
Disappointing loss for FC Buffalo, Russ. It drops the record to 1 win, 2 losses, and a tie.
Thank everybody for coming out tonight.
Yeah, Buffalo needs answers, and they didn't find it today. It's
drive safely for our city.
Really disappointing day for Buffalo. Like you said, kind of a mirror image of what happened against Indiana, and going into a very tough Detroit team. Buffalo needs to figure some things out before we can even talk about maybe the playoffs or a wild card.
Maybe this is what Erie needs for its season too, a little bit of confidence. 3 points on the road, their first points of the year, and this is the Erie team that really caught fire halfway through last year. And
yeah, notorious slow starters, but it's a lot of history there, a lot of quality.
FC Buffalo is Chris Walter. Let's give Chris a hand.
Thanks for joining us here on WNYmedia.net. I'm Ben Sujimoto, joined